kind of goofed off with my last couple videos, focusing a little bit on just being silly and not really focused on anything. And I did kind of threaten that this was going to have some sort of educational value to it. So I guess that I did fulfill my promise of neglecting this, though, so you can't call me that much of a liar. So I guess the newest path I'm trying to take is, I guess you'd call it either a return to academia or trying to focus on an academic career. Decided not to weigh myself down outside of work with taking on other classes. And as much as I like to keep going and learning more, and I think you learn a lot also by educating others, but I had been threatening to turn some of my papers into something a little bit easier for the lay people to read, because let's be frank, there's a lot of wordiness and things you could simplify rather quickly through different economic terms and stuff. And, you know, really, not that you want to be deceitful or have a lean, but, you know, you could, like, if you read any news story, they just say unemployment. They don't specify what metric they're using to measure it. There's actually different ways to measure unemployment. Not everybody knows that, so there's a little piece of... so, you know, you could just turn some of these longer papers into a two-page blurb, and still keep the integrity of the paper, both as in moral, like I'm not going to be, if I was going to do something on a paper on, say, 1924, we'll just pick a year, when I listed unemployment, I didn't say how it was measured. The paper could still be morally correct as well as factually correct. And, you know, if you had any idea on how to expand, obviously I could just cite that, and then you could, if you desired or cared, but that's what longer-term papers, thesis, or dissertations are for, is to expand on the little things like that, whereas writing for, you know, the Atlantic, the Economist, New York Post, whatever your favorite writing place is, or more like whoever will take what you submit. So I've kind of thought I'm going to try to do that, because I unfortunately have stacks of stuff, and with stacks of stuff, there's not as many papers as you'd think. They get that wordy. So I thought something I've threatened to do for years, and I thought I really should start focusing on that. You start getting your name out a little bit, that in the circles of, well, sitting on someone's coffee table, I'd be a little bit of a stroke to my ego, but also I think that would open some more doors, helping return into some form of either an academics-based side gig, being able to do something in the field on a more direct path, or hopefully being able to get some sort of fun, cushy job where they basically ask me what I plan on doing with my time, and I give them some rough idea, and then they pay me as long as something comes out. You know, so a researcher of sorts in economics, which, I mean, that's actually a thing. So that would kind of be cool, but actually my biggest plan, to be honest here, is I want to write a government grant. I'm going to need about $600 trillion, cash, of course. That has to be done in Nevis. I'm going to need a house, and I'm going to need about 4 models, and a couple years supply of birth control, and a lot of drugs. No, okay, that's not it. I think if I knew a senator, that might actually happen. But, yeah. So I'm kind of been thinking about doing that for a little bit. Some other things, which I won't bore anybody about my personal life, because nobody cares. Least of all me, since I've neglected it for so long with balancing multiple jobs and focusing on all this other stuff, but that is what it is. I can't really complain. So I guess it's going to be kind of a strange thing, as I have neglected this, forgot this, and I have no intention of really expanding on who I am or what I am more, because it's not really about me, it's about the message I want to put out, and the message is not any sort of bias or anything like that. It's just simple, you get what you get in I guess that's probably the easiest way for me to say it. I still haven't learned how to talk to a camera. Every time I try that, it sucks. I've noticed that, so you have to forgive me. But I think one of the strong points of it, and this is something I'm going to keep, is the loose fact of being partially anonymous with this. Is don't know if I have a middle school education, 7 PhDs, and you have to judge me by what I say. I think that carries a lot more weight to it than, it doesn't give you the ability to add a snap judgment. Obviously, someone who's went through schooling and education, they've done a lot and they've learned a lot. It's nothing to be ashamed of, but it doesn't also negate people who've educated themselves, or some people who just have a different way of looking at things, other people who are not in a field and still very intelligent. That can happen. So, plus, as I said, I don't want to brag, because if you really want me to brag, I guess I could brag, but that's only to stroke my ego, not yours. So, it'll be kind of weird, because I'm definitely going to want to brag and try to get my name out a little bit, so if I ever do get these things published, which I genuinely feel that if I can get them together, I stand a rather good chance, that I don't know if I'm going to link them to this channel or not, because then you're going to know this. And I mean, it kind of, obviously, it's the internet, it's magical, and it can be quite evil when it needs to be, so I'm sure someone out there knows this, and I mean, I'm going to tell people about it. I really haven't bothered to tell friends or anybody who've been pushing me to open a channel, so, but that's just genuine laziness more than anything, and I wanted some content before I told anybody, so really I don't have any presence, I guess, but I don't know how I feel about the whole idea of, like, linking me to my channel. Not that I think I've done anything reprehensible, it just kind of ruins the whole fact that you have to take the message for the message, not who's saying it. I think that does add a lot. I know maybe I'm overthinking things and I should tell everybody, because nothing really interesting. I assure you, I haven't earned a PhD at 7 years old, like a Doogie Howser thing, or, I didn't get it, or I haven't murdered anybody with an axe, so there's really nothing too unbelievable or interesting, so, it also kind of takes it away, because yes, I feel that I have some pretty cool things that I've done and I'm proud of, but the channel's not about that, my message isn't about that, but if I get published, I'm definitely going to be like a little schoolgirl. I want to tell everybody. It's one thing to be in journals, peer review, which that's obviously something to be very proud of, but another thing to be able to take any message and to put it down to the average viewer, because, one of Einstein's famous quotes was, you don't really understand something if you can't make it simple, and I think that is a powerful message of, if I was able to get something in, the Times or whatever your paper of choice is, that means that, yeah, maybe I did. I mean, it's one thing when people are talking on their level, but to be able to not demean your reader and be able to transfer that message over, really get it across and get a very complex, in ways, point across, without coming off arrogant or, demeaning towards someone who doesn't understand. It's pretty cool, so I guess that's kind of what I've been focused on as of late, and it's really hard to chop down, 50, 60 pages to a couple paragraphs. You want to... The editing, I don't know if you could really make use of a professional editor in this, and I'm also pretty cheap, so, I'm kind of also wanting to do it on my own to say I've done it on my own, but, so that's kind of what I've been doing instead of making videos, but I promised I would ignore this and forget about it, so I did do that, but that's a little bit what's going on here. Nothing too interesting, and yes, you had to sit here and listen to me talk for now clicking over to 10 minutes. So I forgive myself and I forgive you.